Manchester United go back second in the table, courtesy to a 1-0 win over West Ham United. An own goal, I believe, by Dawson. Scott McTominay did brilliantly to get up for the original header from the Bruno Fernandes corner. But in truth, it was a wasteful night for Manchester United. That cannot be denied. Too many opportunities went a-begging. Rashford, with a gilt-edged chance in the first half, should be burying it. Mason Greenwood rather unlucky. An excellent save from Fabianski after great work from Fred and Bruno Fernandes to create that goal. Greenwood, of course, hitting the post late on again. Man United dominated. I mean, David Moyes went for this really weird approach of having almost no attackers on the field of play. He tried to I think what he tried to do is keep it. He knows United struggle against a low block. He tried to keep it at 0-0 until about the 70th minute, and then he was going to make his changes. But of course, United got the goal a little earlier than that. There was 2 or 3 times on the counter Man United should have capitalized, but just too wasteful. Just too wasteful tonight for me, Manchester United, to really put West Ham to the sword, as I think we should have done for the superior quality that we got. And I wouldn't so much be looking at Ollie's system so much. It was more about the individual players delivering and being wasteful, as I say. Where I do look at one little strange thing tonight, well, I say strange. I'm sitting there, I even tweeted, why have we made no subs? Why no subs? And then I looked at the bench and thought, you got to tell us that you could maybe throw on for Rashford in a bit of an attacking sense. And then you got 2 kids on the bench from an attacking point of view. The no substitutions, whether you like it or not, is obvious. Securing top 4 is the priority for Manchester United. It isn't the game against AC Milan. It's about finishing in the top 4. And for me, whether fans want to hear this or not, winning today, making ourselves 9 points clear of that 5th place position, mathematically, of course, doesn't secure us. I'm not a fool. But based on probability and the likelihood that at least 3 teams below us will all accumulate at least 10 more points than us between now and the end of the season, is highly unlikely for us to drop out of the Champions League position. So it all but secures it. That's what we want to speak to you about tonight. We can talk about the performance, but will Manchester United make the top 4? That is the first question. Secondly, I want to chat Mason Greenwood. He didn't score tonight, but I thought he was sensational. Good hold-up play, good on the ball, good dribbler, good with create. It just centrally looks like a player. I don't know what the word is when you can use left and your right foot. I know when it comes to your hands, it's ambidextrous. There's probably a word it's probably something else, dexterous. I'm not too sure what the word is. It's great to see him play. But Mason Greenwood, where does he go from this season? What more do you want to see from him? And how good do you think he's going to become? That's what we are talking about. And if you do feel the top 4 is secured, should we now start putting a little bit more effort into trying to win these cup competitions? AC Milan next. We're going to be speaking about that on today's show. Got KJ Neeks. I know KJ is going to be upset because Ahmad didn't get on. I can already tell he's just going to be like, I know what he's going to say. Bun the pagans, bun the Glazers, Ollie, I don't know what he's going to call Ollie. He's going to give Ollie a name and say, why didn't you bring on Ahmad? I know what he's going to say. I can see his face. I can tell that he's sitting there. I know what he's going to say. I know my guy too well. A legendary villain here says, we did okay today. I'll take the 3 points. Listen, bro, I hate the way my club's being run. I'm not infused about the manager getting a new deal. But I want to win every game, and I'm happy when we win every game. There's no doubt. Like I said, we didn't play bad today. We were wasteful. We had 15 attempts on goal. I think 5 on target. We hit the post twice. And there's also 3 or 4 times in the game where we put the ball into good areas and nobody was there. We should have taken them to the salt. We should have taken them to the cleaners. There's no way. But we just weren't as clinical as we needed to be. Man United are boring to watch. That may be so, but we still have all the record viewing figures. We really, really do. And do you know how I know you're all watching us? Whenever we lose, they're the biggest streams on every single platform. Man United losing are the biggest streams, which means you're all watching anyway. So listen, we can be that, but there we go. Let's do some of these comments here before we get the panel on board. Mark says, WWE, we were up for the top 4 clash. The kids were never going to get on. Simple. Yeah, I agree. That's why they didn't come on. It was a case of this, get top 4 secured, and then we'll go from there. We know that's the main target of the Glazers. Remember that. So when you think about the decision-making of the managers, think about the expectations that they have on them within their job. And it should always make things a hell of a lot easier. We're going to get the panel on now for you, then open up the lines for you to have your say. Make sure you follow the Discord server. The link is in our description below. It's where we're going to share the StreamYard link for you to come on and have your say. But also smash that like button. Let's get it past 1,000 likes. You know the score. We're going to get Neeks on. We're going to get Cam on. We're going to get KJ on. Johnny's also backstage. We're going to have more people on very, very soon. Oh, super chat before. I'll do this quick super chat first. Says here, big up, Terry. That win was massive considering the amount of creative players we have injured. I agree with that. Like we have got players out. We've got players missing. It was even more important because Chelsea dropped points yesterday and it was an opportunity for us to open up that gap. And Leicester was scintillating today against a depleted and almost relegated Sheffield United. And we had to respond. And I'm always very critical when Man United don't step up in clutch moments. We don't do it enough still, but I have to then, when we do it, praise them. I don't want to be one of these hypocritical YouTubers because tonight, with 2 Premier League games running, we had to win because Leicester won and we delivered. So fair play to the boys, fair play for Ollie. And on another positive, I'm going to be positive tonight. That's the 5th clean sheet in 6 games. Clean sheets are good. Clean sheets are always good. Maguire, I thought tonight again, by the way, exceptional. Let's get the panel on now, people. Let's get this done. Smash the like and share button. Let's go. Good mood because I've been drinking wine. That's probably what it is. Probably the wine on anything. What you saying, Cam? You look happy, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, 3 points. Important 3 points. We needed it. I thought we played well once West Ham took 18 players out of the box. That was a ridiculous first 60 minutes. I didn't enjoy it at all. It worries me thinking about what's coming up with the players we have injured and how hard it is for us to create. But credit where credit's due. Maguire was amazing today. That was probably one of the best performances I've seen from him. Lindelof played well. Fred, I can't watch anymore. I'm getting a bit frustrated with Fred. It's getting to the point where honestly, I don't see why he's in the team anymore. It's like he's not doing a great job in general. He's not intercepting passes anymore. He gets the ball and he kills the attack. And that's the problem right now. We have nobody in the midfield. I remember people talking about us not needing any more midfielders when we were linked with Kanalagu or whatever. I can't say his last name. The guy from AC Milan. Go get every midfielder you can at this point. If they're 20 mil, 30 mil, I don't care. Scott's goal again, great. But I'm not upset at all. There's some, the good and the bad. The bad is we can't attack balls and crosses that come across the.
Yeah. Why do you think no subs went? What was your thought on no subs being made today? Did you agree with that decision?
So this is the thing. People get mad when Ollie goes defensive, right? In these games. If he goes defensive, then we let on pressure and we lose the game. So we couldn't do that. Most of the subs were just defense. You can't bring on a kid. You bring in a kid and he makes a mistake and we lose the game. Guess what? Who's it on? Ollie again. Honestly, we don't have players right now. Everybody's hurt. Who are you going to – yes, you should have, in my opinion, at the 80th minute when Rashford had his hands on his knees and he couldn't move anymore. Yeah, bringing a Diallo at that point is probably a better choice. I will say that. But you can't really bring him in much earlier than that in this game. That's especially if – so this is where I'll backtrack a second, Terry. If he doesn't play the kids – in Milan, if he doesn't give him significant time there, then I'll be a bit confused because at some point we've got to rotate. Our guys are gassed, man. They're gassed, and there's nobody. Where's Van de Beek when you need him? This sucks. This is a bad spell to not have any of our midfielders that we desperately need.
No, I do hear you on that. Leroy here says Ollie outers are not the issue at all. I'm not too sure where this has come from. I don't think anybody said anything about this on this stream because they just know the standard of this club. We are way too boring. Good football and winning can go hand in hand. Bro, listen, let me just respond to that. Listen, of course they can. And that's the utopia. You want to have the best football and win the major trophies, there's no doubt. The Ollie out conversation, I said it earlier, Ollie inners and Ollie outers are the same, different ends of the same spectrum. They're focusing on the manager like that's going to make a huge deal of difference and not the fact that we're not running away to produce those two things on a consistent basis. So just arguing over management all the time and that being, and I'm talking 10 to 1. This morning, a lot of people are Glazer out, Woodward out because of the news about Ollie getting a new deal. But it's 10 to 1. It's a 10 to 1 ratio. And of course, for individual games, you can look at managers and individual players. But who actually puts the squad together, who hires managers, who gives them new deals. You have to look beyond the end of your nose when it comes to that. For me, I'm not saying Ollie inners and Ollie outers are a reason that we're in the situation we are as a football club, but they're not focusing on the root cause problem at Manchester United overall. We're not really on that debate today, but thank you very much for that super chat. KJ's here with us. What are you saying, bro?
Ooh, we got the points at the end of the day. And as per usual, like you say, Terry, bun the pagans, bun that Walla, done it. Like, as I say, win, lose, draw, Woodward out, Glazers out, fam. I don't care, innit? I don't care. Yeah, man, we did what we needed to do. Ollie, with his substitutions or lack thereof, you know what I mean? I'm not really too fussed about that. Like, Diallo not coming on made sense. I'm not annoyed at that either. Like, it made sense him not coming on the pitch. So I'm not really too bothered by that. Our football IQ from these players, man, flip me. We are 5 minutes away with a 1-0 lead. Why are we still trying to score? There's one point in the 80th minute or 88th minute where Wan-Bissaka gets it out wide. Just keep the ball. Keep the ball. He had options back. He had options to the side. He tries to go on a driving run. It makes no sense. They almost counted from it. And I'm just like, boys, use this. That's all I want. Use your heads. Play it simple. Be smart.
Yeah.
It's not me shouting at Ollie. It's not me shouting at Ollie. No, our players need to be smarter.
But I looked at it the other way. I was up until about the 85th minute, I was screaming at us to attack more because I wanted the second goal. If Greenwood goal goes in, which I think was within the 80-minute period, and it nearly went in, it's 2-0, and we all sit back and we relax a little bit more. Nick's a lot of people. Sorry, Nick. A lot of people in the comment section talking about no subs. You have a super chat here that says just can't justify Ollie not making subs. It's crunch time, and we know how many the players are barely fit. He's running these players into the ground, and it's indicament of himself that he can't trust the subs. What's your response to him not making substitutions? Everyone's raging about it. Amad Diallo is trending globally right now.
Terry, he can't. He's damned if he does or damned if he doesn't. He made 5 subs against AC Milan. Everyone accused him of going at the back. Why are you so defensive? Look at who we had on the bench. Anyone he brought on would have been a defensive substitution. And if we had conceded, even if it wasn't through any of the defenders that he would have brought on, people would have been complaining. People find an issue with anything. And when it comes to Solskjaer, there are many issues that people want to find. So him not making subs and us winning, him making subs and us not winning, it's always going to be down to him. His job is to win football matches. He won a football match, which was very crucial in the race for top 4, a race that we don't really want to be in. So we need to win these matches to make sure that we're not fighting for it in the last 5, 6, 7 games of the season. So the important thing for him was to get the win. We brought on players against AC Milan. It didn't work out. Today he didn't, and it worked out. What is there to complain about? I mean, for me, I don't think it was a great performance, but look at the players we got available. Well, we've complained all season, 2 years even, about McTominay and Fred. He's got no other option. The other option is Matic, who gets run past so easily these days. He's a liability more than anything, but you want him, to bring him on? And then when we bring him on, why are we going defensive? I'm not even getting that KJ, but you say, why are we attacking in the 88th minute? In the past games, we defended in the 88th minute and we conceded.
I'm not saying defend, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying keep the ball.
Keep the ball. I understand that. I do understand that. But sometimes I guess these players are like, you know what, let's try and do something different. And I'm not even saying that the players are good enough or not. But if we're talking about the players not being good enough, then there's only so much he can do. I just think, go on.
I'll ask you a question, Nix. Do you think when it comes to Ollie that whatever he does, they're just going to moan? He's detractors.
Of course they are. If we win, we didn't win good enough. If we win good, why didn't he make subs earlier? If we lose, well, it's his fault. If we draw, well, he should have won. Why did you go for the win? We should have kept the draw. Like, it doesn't make a difference. His job is to win matches. We won today. And I think we deserve to win. When people talk about, oh, look at our result against the Big Six. The Big Six? You mean 10th place Arsenal, who beat 7th place Spurs today? That's who our results are up against. No, we're playing West Ham, who are the 5th best team in the country this year, who came to Old Trafford twice in the last month in the FA Cup and today, and parked the damn bus. and we're playing with Dan James, Mason Greenwood, Scott McTominay, Fred, Wan-Bissaka, and we're trying to break down the 5th best team in the country this season who are parking the bus. It's going to be difficult, but we created chances. We should have scored more, but ultimately we won. What are we complaining about? And when I say we, I'm not talking about anyone in the stream. I'm talking about in general. There's nothing to complain about. We won the game.
And in fairness tonight, we would have won by 2 or 3 goals if, Rashford should be scoring his header. Greenwood hits the post twice. Those are 3 opportunities where it could have been.
Fabianski made 2 or 3 good saves, very good saves from Bruno and from Greenwood.
My only issue with today was with the players and not being clinical enough in those moments. We're going to add some more to the panel now. We're going to bring in bits and bobs. We're going to bring in Johnny as well. Johnny, welcome back to the terrace, mate. I hope you're good. What did you make of the display tonight? And are you happy with the 3 points?
I thought it was just a ball fest, absolute ball fest. I thought Bruno was good, who I normally slate. No, Bruno was good tonight. I've got to give him his due. Aaron Maguire was good. Luke Shaw was good. Greenwood was good. Same crap passing as usual. We have to beat West Ham with an home goal. I mean, I don't know. I'm still feeling sick from that news last night, to be honest. I mean, it literally, to be honest. And all is now definitely secured contracts. So, the suffering is prolonged. Suffering is prolonged. That's all I see. That's how I see it.
Johnny, why is West Ham suffering?
Let's talk about the game.
Wait, let me speak. I want to bring a point up that you mentioned when you were talking, right? The reason people went mad about the AC Milan game making substitutions, right? The reason people went mad, that's why people went mad for them substitutions, right? That's why they went mad. And today, it's a disgrace again that he's made no subs. Rashford was just past fit for the game. We all know he's carrying an injury. He could have brought Ahmad on the last 20 minutes to give Rashford for 90 minutes. He's going to play 90 minutes again against AC Milan, and then 90 minutes again against Leicester. He's going to be finished at 27 at this rate. It's not acceptable. His man management of this squad is shocking.
Everybody, give me a second. Just 1 second, everyone. Johnny, what are you using the stream on? Because it glitches in and out, and it's really hard to know when you're speaking and when you stop. That's why people keep talking over you.
Just normal Google Chrome.
There's a big delay.
It's on
the Wi-Fi, bro. The Wi-Fi.
It's the same as I always do.
No, it's just there's a really big delay. That's all I'm saying. So I think sometimes people start talking and you're not picking it up to a little bit later. Right. Bits and bobs. Happy with the free. It's all right, mate. There seems to be a lot of frustration with a lot of United fans.
Did you get the gist of what I said?
Yes, mate. Yeah, 100%. What's your take on tonight's performance?
Do you know what? Listen, we're acting like West Ham have not been on form, been creating loads of teams problems, scoring goals. We kept a clean sheet against them at home. And, okay, we never scored. However, I think if we had an elite striker, I'm taking Indiana's words here. If we had an elite striker, we score a good few. Fabianski, we all know Fabianski is a good shot stopper. The one he tipped with Greenwood's shot. Rashford, for me, you've got to score that, to be honest. I think he was just cracking a joke, jumping up. I'd rather you just didn't bother, didn't do that, what he'd done. And obviously, Greenwood hits the post. Look, it's a good win because our rivals Leicester won. We win, 3 points, stretches the gap from Chelsea. I'm satisfied. I'm not happy. I'm satisfied because at the end of the day, we had to win and we won. So, I know Johnny mentioned about the contract and that, but listen, he's not signed anything. So for all we know, it might not happen in May. But however, regarding today, Terry, I think it's just another advert on why we need new recruitment. It's another advert for why we struggle to break teams down. We saw Daniel James had a nice jinky run. Poor decisions again. We saw Rashford, poor decisions again. It was nice to see Greenwood have a cameo up front, 100%. I felt for him at times, though, because I felt he was isolated. I felt he had to drop deeper as well. I've seen him drop into the D of the halfway line to get the ball, which I wasn't liking that. Bruno, listen, you know what you're going to get with Bruno. He's always going to give you effort. He was okay today. But listen, I'm going to say something now. Harry Maguire can literally walk into that change room and be proud of himself because I watched a lot of streams saying that Antonio was going to bully Lindelof, bully Harry. I think they dealt with him very well, 100%. I mean, what's his name? Antonio never even got any change off us. Harry played really well. The back four player. Listen, we got a clean sheet at home. We won. We move. Simple as that.
I hear you on that, bro. We've got Adam joining us, actually making his debut on the Football Terrace. So firstly, welcome to the channel, mate. It's great to have you here. I'm a little bit starstruck. I'm a bit of a fan, to be honest. But
yo, why weren't you on the pitch? Why are you on the bench for, my brother?
Hey,
why is he out there on the bench, mate?
If I was on that pitch, man, we would not be playing the way we're playing right now. Bobs, I've got to give you credit for your positivity, mate. But let's be honest, that was crap, wasn't it? It was absolute diabolical. I mean, you said it yourself there, mate, in one sentence. Our rivals, Leicester. I mean, that kills it for me right there. Our rivals, Leicester, won today, and that's what we're accepting now. Naturally, not through choice, but that's just what comes out of this season. The season's over right now, isn't it? The league's done. There's more excitement what's happening down at the bottom. We've pretty much nailed on top 4 with that win today. That's what that's done for me. 9 points we're not going to throw away. The next game for them, it's Leicester against West Ham coming up, Leicester against City. Everyone's going to drop points. And we've actually got teams that we've got coming up who we're playing against do actually attack. So we should actually see some decent football coming in. But right now, looking at that, did anyone expect that game to go any differently today? No, we knew. David Moyes. Yeah, David Moyes. David Moyes is in town. Expect a lot. Oh my God, if I was a West Ham fan right now, I would be. I'd be at the end. I'd be at the end. You're in 5th place, and you've got a chance. You've got a chance, a serious chance of making top 4, and you don't lay a glove on this shaky defence. I mean, Henderson didn't have a save to make all game. It was unbelievable. We dealt with everything defensively. West Ham just played in front of us. It was easy for us. And in the end, we'll take the win. We'll move away. We're not going to look back at this game after the season's finished and say, let's look at the highlights of this game. It's just 3 points added to our total, which is just going to vindicate if Ollie does get this new deal, which I don't think he should. This is where this football club's going, accepting top 4. And we're going to have to put up with football like this because I don't see any improvement in the transfer market. I don't see us spending any money. And as long as Ollie keeps making top 4, while everyone else keeps slipping up, then he's going to keep his job. I mean, without Bruno this season, we're nowhere near. We're with Arsenal in 10th. It's as simple as that. There's no style of football. There's no style of football. And we're burning players into the ground. Players are actually on their arse right now in this team. We're destroying players. I mean, Rashford today, rushed back, you could see. He was all right, slightly effective at times, but he's blowing out of his arse. I understand injuries, and this time of the season, there's a few teams dealing with it, but Dan James, no, not going to work. Greenwood's our best forward at the moment. He's just unlucky. Bruno is Bruno. McFred, I said this before, you might, with this new contract, a new shirt sponsor coming up for United, they might as well just go all out and go to McDonald's and say, do you want to sponsor us? Because we can make a special McFred sandwich for you to advertise in your window and just go completely all in on the American theme, because that's what this club is doing right now. It is. This midfield is dead, and we're not going to get anywhere with it.
Do you know what? It's interesting what you say there. So I'm going to go to Neeks in just a second. Like, I don't think everybody on the panel will agree with every point you make, but the one thing you do say, which I agree more than anything, is the standards of this club. It's about making money. We're basically a walking, talking, football-playing billboard for the world, and that's all these individuals care about. As long as that share price remains, so they're able to sell shares and make loads of money in their property empire, and as long as the money comes rolling in, they're taking their dividends, they're never going to change anything. And it's like the Ollie thing. It's why I'm not even interested in the debate anymore. Someone could offer me quite a bit of money. Actually, if they offer me a lot of money, I'd do it because I want the money. But I'm not even interested in the Ollie in, Ollie out debate anymore because, like you just said, we could go and get a better manager, but we're not going to back him properly in the transfer market to bring the. So it just becomes all the arguments about Ollie, about Nagelsmann, about the players not being good enough. It's just arbitrary by now because it doesn't matter who comes in; it isn't going to work. So whenever I sit there and see people now screaming about Ollie or McTominay or Dan James, it's bro, you just bought the new shirt. You're feeding into it. If you're cool to do that, do it. But this is where we are. And I just think Man United fans, I know they don't want to, are just at a point where I just think we've got to learn to accept this is how the Glazers are going to run our football club. And that's it. I don't think there's much more we can do from that point. I really don't. Neeks.
No.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, there's a few things I agree and a few things I disagree. Well, anyway, when we're talking about Manchester United, of course, we know that nobody in the club, full stop, is perfect. Where and some people are worse than others, starting with the Glazers, and you work your way down. But you mentioned that this season the league is pretty much over. Now, as a club, of course, we want to be challenged for league titles. So in March, we shouldn't be saying the league's over unless we're 20 points clear, which we're clearly not. But we also need to be realistic in terms of when we started the season. If we said that in March, we would be quote unquote guaranteed top 4, most people would have said, I'll take that, because we had a terrible transfer window. The quality of the players in our squad, which you just mentioned, are not good enough. Chelsea strengthened. Liverpool, we expected them with the likes of Jota, Thiago, and obviously a world-class manager to do much better. And we knew Man City will come back. So to be, we can say, we're talking about Leicester. Leicester, we're competing with Leicester because the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Liverpool, Tottenham, etc., have underachieved this season. That's not on us. We have to look at where we were last year compared to where we are this year and going back in terms of whether we progressed or not. Now, I'm not saying we should be doing somersaults over a 1-0 win at home to West Ham. But if we're talking about, if we're looking, and he may not want to do, but if we're looking for positives, the reality is we are in second place in a season where no one expected us to be. We're over 10 points more than we had last year. Man City just went on a 21 winning streak, which we knew we were never going to compete against. Now, we know that if we don't have a good summer, we're going to regress as a club, as we have been regressing as a club since Fergie left. But there are positives to take in terms of the progress that we have made in the last 2 years and some of the player performances this season. We say without Bruno, where would we be? But we've got Bruno. Liverpool didn't have Van Dijk and they're out of the top 4. Spurs, they're struggling. Arsenal struggling because Aubameyang hasn't turned up. We have got Bruno. It is what it is. Nobody has a squad like Man City. So if we're gonna judge our progress based on Man City, then across the club we're gonna fall down. But within the club falling down, there are still a lot of positives that we can take from the season that we went in with no expectations whatsoever. So I agree partly, but I think in other senses, I don't completely concur with what you're saying.
I was waiting for Adam. I didn't know if Adam was going to jump back in.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I can do, mate, if you want, yeah?
Yeah, go on, mate.
The problem you've got is, mate, the fact that we got to the top spot and then we bottled it. We completely bottled it. So that mentality is still running through the club. And that is the ultimate problem, the mentality of these players. We're not going to lose Ole. I don't think any other manager coming in is going to get the funding that he really needs to change his squad around. So what you've got to look at future-wise, the issue isn't where we're at this season. It's probably now because we're at this stage now and we can see the season coming to an end and it's just petering out into nothing because City are going to walk away with a title.
Sorry, Adam, I've got to go. My mum's coming back from work and I need to go spend time with her for Mother's Day and for Midnight Vibes. But yeah, I just want to say, obviously, the reason why we're in the position we're in is because those Wallads and those pagans, have run us into the ground. Man United fans, Ollie in, Ollie out, I don't freaking care. You're all mad. We're all stupid because they're taking us for idiots. Let's listen, put all that aside, boycott the thing, don't go back to Old Trafford. And we need to make sure that these pagans feel it. Because otherwise, we'll just be here everywhere for forever, fam. Generational bondage, I'm telling you. They have dropped the standards. They're the ones with the reasons why we're here. Everyone come together. Let's get them out or do something, please. I've got to go now. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, too.
You just
on that actual, just to touch on that there, it's like this is the worst run club, worst run big club out there completely. I mean, I'm a season ticket holder and I know I go home and away, but I don't get tickets the way I should get tickets. I don't get rewarded for being a loyal fan by this club. So what happens at Manchester United is the executive ticket holders, the ones who will pay $2 or $3 grand a season, they're the ones who will get preferential or they'll get first in the queue for away tickets. So what them guys then do is They will then sell them tickets for 300 quid a piece to some foreigner to just pay for their executive season ticket at Manchester United. That's what they do. So the Glazers are actually rewarding the people who put more money into the club, and that should tell you everything you need to know about the way this football club is being run. People, the real fans that go every single week and want to go every single week and get behind the team, who don't really care much about what goes on, just want to support their football club, then that is the problem right now. The ones that should be rewarded aren't being rewarded. And that's how this club is going to keep on running constantly. The fans are the ones. People say we need to boycott everything. It really doesn't matter to this ownership. It doesn't matter one bit to them what we do. They've seen worse under the Buccaneers, and they've come through it. What they're trying to do, what their ultimate game is to try and do, is to try and push it towards that style of sports franchise where there's no pitfalls, where the money is constantly there. That's what they're trying to do, and we're going to keep fighting it. And ultimately, in the end, I don't think it's going to work for them that way, but they're still not going to get deterred by what fans do. They've seen a lot worse than what United fans have done in the past.
I agree completely. And they, as you say, they keep pushing for these European Super Leagues. What will eventually happen with that is, I think what the big European clubs will eventually get is they're already expanding Champions League, so even more teams get in, so it's even more likely the traditional top 6 get into it. And then what will eventually happen domestically, it will start off with international TV rights, where the big 4, and it won't be the big 6 because they don't all have huge global fan bases, but the ones with a big global fan base will be allowed to negotiate their own individual international TV rights, which will then see an extra 80 to 100 million pound a year going into the coffers of the likes of Manchester United. And the problem is, unlike Chelsea and City that will spend that money, and nearly all of that money will be spent on new contracts, improving facilities, and buying players. Man United will only put about 50 to 60% of that back into the football club for footballing reasons. The fact that there are people at Old Trafford that when it rains, there's holes in the roof, it just tells that it's just a little sign. You know, Manchester United, the biggest, most famous football club in the planet, has holes in its roof. It's an absolute joke, and it really is. I don't want to change the subject too much. We've still got Johnny. We're going to get back on Lincoln's backstage, but we are obviously joined here by a good friend of the channel. West Ham fans are in the house. Claret and Blue Army's here. I want to ask you a question. Were you happy with the way Moyes went pure defensive for the first 60, 70 minutes? Is that something you expected him to do?
I think you all knew it was coming. I didn't expect him to do exactly what he did in the cup game and then basically produce a carbon copy, because you knew what you was going to get. It was like watching a repeat of the cup game, which was a joke, really, because do you know what annoys me the most about it? It was really disappointing how Mark Noble's got back in that team out of nowhere. I'll never know. I thought we'd moved on from them days. Mark Noble needs to be put down like an old cart horse. That's what needs to happen to him, because his days are finished. Like they were finished 2 seasons ago, and how he's back in the starting lineup. The reason why we've come so far is because we've stopped that sideways, backwards, boring style of football that Mark Noble brings to the team. And of late, we've just been so much more positive. And one of the reasons for that is obviously Jesse Lingard. And unfortunately, obviously, he couldn't play today, which was a tough one to take. But I didn't expect what he put out there. And I keep seeing people on this channel, and they're all talking about West Ham and how we're going to slip out the top 5. We're the obvious one that's not going to make it into the top 5 this season. That's painful, because when we play the way that we've been playing, we look like a really, really good side. We're resolute, we're determined, we're together, we work hard, we're fit, and we can give anyone a game. And we've come out there today and at half-time to not have a single attempt at goal, no shots on target, is an absolute disgrace. Because if we'd have come out and played our football like we tried to start doing in the second half, while you did a great job of breaking us down and staying at your task, you're not that good yourselves. So I'm just gutted we didn't have a go. I'm gutted.
What Moyes got wrong, the approach of trying to playing low block against us and nullifying the space is right. We struggle to break teams like you down, but you didn't have an outlet. That for me was, when I looked at the lineup, I just thought, well, the first half is going to be easy. And if we'd have taken our chances in that first half, Rashford should have scored. Greenwood had a really good opportunity saved. We'd have gone in at 2-0, and Moyes' plan didn't work. But I think he felt, oh, well, you know, it's got. I think he was going to try and last till about 70 minutes and then throw the attacking players on. But yeah, it just must have been a bit soul destroying when you consider. I mean, how well you did against City. Like, you were so unlucky, I felt, against Manchester City recently. I was expecting that. And for me, I feel like Man United were given a bit of a touch today, if that makes sense. I feel like you kind of let us off the hook a little bit. Cam, what was your thoughts on the way Moisey approached it?
So I was shocked because honestly, the first half, it was like, that was just dreadful. But when they decided to play and attack us, it turned into a game, and they looked like they may have got something from the game. Like when Lanzini and Benrahma came on, I was like, I would like to see those guys come on for us right now, to be completely honest. I had that thought, and the way they were on the front foot in that second half, it was like, why not just push them to start? Like, why not just play the game? You come out and play football. You're in fifth for a reason. That's like, you're in fifth for a reason. I'm actually not one of those people that think they're going to drop out. I've been watching a lot of their games. And they look good. I actually said during the game to some of the boys, I'm like, if Jesse played in this game right now, we'd be in trouble. Like, his movement would be a problem for us. Like, I actually thought we would be in trouble. And I just don't like when teams do that. It's what kind of kills the game and to go into that whole foreign fan thing, it kills the game for foreign fans a lot of the times, because we are used to much quicker back and forth sports and basketball and whatnot. And I feel really bad for what Adam said when it comes to like how the Glazers are running the club, because unfortunately that is how North American sports are ran, and they're doing the exact same thing to United. It's terrible. The season ticket holders aren't going to get any benefits moving forward. It's always what they're going to try to do, and you'll see it maybe in the future, is try and get more and more foreign celebrities and people in and stuff like that. It happens to us and our big teams where we want tickets and we can't get them because this is what these owners do, and it's so unfortunate that
I remember a few. It wasn't Man United, but I remember I can't remember. I think it was Arsenal got to a final of a cup game, and there was so many gooners screaming they couldn't get tickets. People that have been season ticket holders for 20, 30, 40 years. And then look, I'm not slagging the guy. I think he's an amazing YouTuber in what he does. But KSI did this thing on his channel where he said, I've got 10 tickets for the FA Cup final, and I'm going to give one away each day when I do a stream. The fans were like, so through corporate sponsors, KSI's got given these 10 tickets, and he's obviously using it to promote and grow himself. But what about the fans? Like that are paying like ridiculous amounts of money for tickets. They travel home and away. And do you know what it is? I was season ticket Old Trafford for many, many years. I lived in Manchester for a long time. And there was this lad I met, and he was from Sweden. The geezer flew over every other week from Sweden with his season ticket to watch it. It's like people like that need rewarding, not like corporates being given 30,000 tickets for an FA Cup final and things like that. And that's the problem with how this game is gone. We have a super chat here from Baz who says, don't hammer fans. Hammer fans. I love it. I know Baz is from Canada. I love the way he says it. Hammer fans. Appreciate how Moyes has changed the culture. Hammers just buy the biggest names they could afford before Moyes. Do you agree with that, Frankie?
I'm not sure David Moyes has been that involved in any of the transfers so far, to be quite honest with you. I think Soucek was a recommendation of Soucek. Soucek was a signing of the board. I don't think Moyes has particularly been involved in that. I think he's changed the culture of the attitude of the players on the pitch. I definitely think he's demanding running. He's always said that since he come to us. He's always said, if you don't run, you don't play. And I do think that is a big culture shift that we so desperately needed. But transfers, I'm not sold on that.
I get you on that. Obviously, big news last night about Ollie getting a new deal. And I know you touched on it already, Johnny, and Adam's hands, and he said, I was the same. And I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to David Moyes, Ollie in many ways. I think he's done some good things behind the scenes. I'm not bored of the way we play football. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's shit. I'm kind of in the middle. But I do think he's hit his ceiling. And I do think we need to be looking beyond him. But it looks like he's going to be getting a 2 to 3 year extension, an extra £2 million a year salary. Johnny, I mean, why do you think the club are rewarding him for just finishing in the top four? Do you think there's a longer term plan that we're not noticing? Or is it just he's achieving their goals, so they're just happy to keep him in play? Why do you think they're doing it?
First of all, just confirm there's no delay this time. Can you hear me all right?
Perfect. Whatever you change.
Yeah. I've got the newer laptop on. It's my apologies for before. I won't be doing that again. So I think it's clear. I think one thing we can all agree on is when it comes to the Glazers, it's about getting top four and it's about getting that Champions League winner. It's so evident. When we drop into Europa League, we've got past evidence that shows that when we drop into Europa League, the next summer they invest. Then while we're in Champions League, the summer after that, it's minimal spend. We drop out. I mean, it's a recurring cycle. It's a revolving door. So it's very clear to see that then their aspirations are not our aspirations. We're not aligned at all. It's a mismatch. And unfortunately, until either we get an absolutely magician as a manager in, who can literally turn water into wine, I think we are going to struggle to really challenge the people like City, who unfortunately for us, they've got owners that spend money willy-nilly, and they do generally want to get silverware and they want to do the best in Europe. I'm envious of it. I don't like it. It kills me to say it, but it's the truth, and it's where we find ourselves. And until we get the Glazers out, which they've been here 16 years now, is it? They're making that much money. Ed's making them that much money. It's just a what's the word I'm looking for? A conveyor belt of money. Like, looking at it from their perspective, why would you sell Man United? As much as it's killing us, from their perspective, they're laughing. And unfortunately, it's us lot that suffer. It's us that suffer. And this is where we find ourselves, yeah.
I hear you, Adam. I know you brought it up sort of earlier on in this. I mean, can you try and look for a positive in this? Could it be that they still feel they need someone like Ollie for another couple of years while we embed the director of football and technical directors, and that they are trying to create something that's going to get us back to the top of the tree? Or is that just a pipe dream and a sort of a shining of the turd from fans? Because some football fans always like to look for the positive, and I want to believe that's true, but there's just, I don't know, something in the back of my head that tells me that we're all just having the wool pulled over our eyes.
Yeah, it's that ultimate feeling. I know what you mean by that, because they'll make it look like they're doing right, but we all know deep down that it's not. I was all for, look, Ole, you've been a great servant to the football club. You're going to be the first manager since Sir Alex Ferguson that's got us back-to-back Champions League qualifications. Finish your contract off, walk away with dignity. No one's sacked Ole, the old club legend. I just think we're setting ourselves up for a fall if it does go peak Tong next season. I think right now, I'd have been happy with him seeing out next season. Completely, I've got no problem with that. And in that time, I would expect the football directors, or whatever they want to call themselves, just to be different, that they'll be doing some planning behind the scenes to bring in the next man. This, for me, tells me that the club isn't spending any money. That's what it's saying. They're going to say, Ollie's staying. He's not going to say no to anything. I'm looking at what we got in the summer. You could break it down as 90 million that he spent in the summer with Diallo, Telles and Van der Beek. Not one penny of that really has influenced this season whatsoever. So is Ollie making signings? I don't know. It doesn't look like it, because the whole Van der Beek issue this season has been a complete brain melt. I have got no idea how a player of that quality ends up not playing a minute of the season, because Dan James came in last season, played nearly every game that he was starting in early doors when we had a full squad to pick from. So it's not integrating a player. There's something wrong behind the scenes. And I just think that's why. And if you notice the way that Ole brings his staff in, or whoever's around that training ground at the moment, everyone is below Ole. Everyone's qualified below Ole, really. You could say Mike Phelan's been there longer, but Carrick, less experience. McKenna at the higher level, less experience. Fletcher comes in. He's just got a job now as one of the assistants to the director of football. I'm convinced that's probably going to be just to keep the youth system rolling the way it has been so successfully, which is a positive, I'll say that. But for me, I just feel like this is more yes men for the football club and more yes men for Ed Woodward and the Glazers. I can't see a positive in it. I can see positives in what Ollie's done, and he's laid some seriously good foundations for, I thought, the next manager. But I'm in the boat with a lot of other people that I don't think he's going to be the manager to bridge the gap to a Pep Guardiola, which, if you're going to say you want to see a bit of progression every season, next season is challenging for that title, because there's only one place to go from here, and that is the number one spot. So for me, is he the man to do that? Without world-class players around him who can bail him out, I don't think he is that right man to do it. And it baffles me if he is getting this deal. But then again, and how the club work and how it runs, I'm not surprised at all.
No, I hear you on that. Do you know what? I'll be blunt, right? If you gave Pep Guardiola this squad, we would improve.
Yeah,
we would play better football, but I still don't think it would be enough to beat one of the top teams when they're on absolute sense form. Because
you lay your foundation of style of football, and then you add players to that, don't you? But at the moment, we haven't got either. That's the difference. That's why you would say Pep had improved us, but he needs that extra level player just to take us to the level.
Of course, and we know that Pep can coach, Klopp can coach, Fergie could coach, but these managers still buy players. Like Fergie, I need a new goal scorer. I'm not going to buy Van Persie. I'm going to do an extra session a week in training with Danny Welbeck. No, he went and bought a striker that could score the goals he needed.
I want to address one thing because I'm a bit confused on why everybody's so depressed. If we've seen it already, if Ollie fails miserably next year, they're just going to let him. They're just going to sack him. Like I'm shocked why everybody's so like.
So my reason for being annoyed, there's multiple reasons. One of my reasons was I need people to stop focusing on Ollie as being the big problem. Not because I'm trying to protect Ollie because he's a legend, but because it's just wasted energy. I said it when LVG was sacked, Jose, and now here. I just feel like it's crazy. The other reason is this: we're going to end up extending it by about 3 years. And you're right. If he doesn't make top 4, he gets sacked because that's a precursor. You have to do it. It's a prerequisite. But you extending his deal by another 3 years and adding £2 million a year means that we're going to have a compensation payout of between 50 and 20 million pound. That's 50 to 20 million pound that then comes out of the coffers of whoever the new manager is. We are putting ourselves into a position to have egg on our face, but also burn money. And giving Ollie a new deal, I think if you see Chelsea improve, Liverpool are going to bounce back, in my opinion, and another team jump up, we could fall out of it just by natural attrition. And then we've given somebody a new deal. We're not going to give him the players that I just feel it. We might as well walk into the car park of Old Trafford and set 20 million pounds on fire because it's going to waste money. And we can't get that back. It isn't like we've got our billionaire owners that say, we wasted 20 mil there. Bang, there's another 20 million quid from my own back pocket to replenish it. Like, once the money's gone, it's finished. I want to ask Frankie a question. Obviously, you're looking from the outside in, you're a West Ham fan. Do you think it's right that if he makes top 4 2 years running, do you think it's right that Ollie gets his deal renewed? Or do you think they should be looking for someone better than him? How do you see it as an outsider, a neutral in that way?
To be honest, mate, and even from a West Ham fan, I just think in the current times you realise just how short life is, mate. And I want to, in my lifetime as a West Ham fan, I want to win something. The attitude that we showed tonight is not a winning mentality. We've got the best chance as a football club that we've ever had of finishing in a really high spot in the Premier League. And we haven't gone and taken that chance tonight. And it winds me right up. And I think for you guys, I totally understand why your frustration's there. I see people in the chat saying about why are you moaning so much, Ollie out, when he's just won the game and so on. But the reason is because you expect more, and so you should. You're Manchester United, and from a West Ham fan, the best football club, the most, prestigious football club in the whole world. Why do you not want to be chasing for that title? And if you don't believe Ollie should be the man to do that, and I think, to be honest, it's quite clear that he isn't the man to do that, then why shouldn't you demand more? I think you should.
No, I hear that. I suppose the only area that I draw the line in is it's the level of abuse that he gets. It's the over the top sort of stuff, like the kind of favoritism and all that sort of stuff. That bothers me because he is a club legend, and I don't care if it makes me a sap. I don't care if it's too emotional or romantic. Football is romantic. The reason I'm so upset by what the Glazers have done is because I love my football club, and I picked Man United as an East End boy. And I picked him because I went to the same school as David Beckham and we were born in the same hospital. There was no real logic to it other than that. When I moved to Manchester and I lived there for about 3 years and I experienced match day from a different point of view. I didn't live near Old Trafford. I lived in Denton, and I did live in Longsight for a bit. That was a fun experience. And then I moved out to Stockport. But being in that environment, seeing what it meant to local people, learning more about the club, going to games with, there's just a lad called Baz I used to go to games with who'd been, he was friends with people like Dennis Law and stuff. He got me he knew them because back in the day when he was a young man going to games, the players were drinking pubs with these guys, and he just listened and learned what the club was about and what it stood for. And when I was living in Manchester when the Glazers took over, and I remember this it was in the press and nobody was really bothered about it in the press, but locally you could feel the anguish and the fear and the worry about them taking over. And ever since then, the club felt different to me. And that's why I protect Ollie, because I sort of feel like he is a club legend. He's done brilliant stuff for us. I don't want to see him get abused and ripped apart. But then I do understand it, because some people, they see Ollie as taking sides with the Glazers. The same as Fergie, because if you're going to call Ollie a yes man and abuse him, Sir Alex Ferguson's a yes man. So Bobby Charlton is a yes man, because they take salaries, they take money, they sit on those, although they have ceremonious positions, they sit there. But I look at it very much this way. I'd still rather have, in a cold light of day, I still think I'd rather have someone like an Ollie on the inside of the tent spitting out, doing what he can to make the best of a bad situation and sail the sinking ship, rather than somebody that couldn't give two hoots about the football club, that will kick off in the press, that will create a toxic environment when he doesn't get what he wants, and then they sack him and just start all over again with somebody else. Something's part of the way Ollie's doing it, where I think at least he's behaving with professionalism and decorum. So that's probably why I protect him a little bit more than I maybe should, for the way we play and stuff like that, because it's a bit of romance, and I don't really like to see Ollie treated in that way. But in terms of the club moving forward, we're in absolute bits and trouble. We have a super chat here from BJ that says, Terry, how do you come to the conclusion that Ollie is taking us as far as he can when when we all know the quality of the squad isn't good enough? So there's two reasons for that for me. Is we've had too many clutch games and big moments where we haven't stepped up to the plate. That's a mentality issue for me. And that a big part of that stems from how we train, how we're drilled, how we're coached, how we set up for games. The other element is I don't think we're going to address all these issues in our squad. I don't. It took us 7 years, from 2007 until 2014, to buy a midfielder. We still haven't replaced Cristiano Ronaldo at the football club. In some respects, you think about we haven't replaced Vidic or Rio. You could argue this season Luke Shaw stepped up to a point where you could say Evra may have been replaced, but Evra was so consistent and so good. We haven't replaced any of our stars. So, and we haven't done that. That's been a continual theme for 16, 17 years. So we're not going to bring in the players that Ollie needs to become successful. So the only way I see us maintaining Champions League football and picking up the occasional trophy is by having the best manager in class in play. And it's almost, for me, I am lowering standards here, because there's no point me having standards up here when the club standards are down here. I need to lower them to the same level. But how do I get what they're still fighting for? We need the best manager possible. I hope that answers your question. We're going to go to some callers now. If you guys are all cool to stay on, we're going to go to Fixer. Fixer's on the show. What do you want to say, mate?
Hello, Terry. How you doing?
I'm very well. What's in your mind?
Was a good victory for United. I'm not gonna say we played absolutely brilliant, but we did the job. 1-0 against West Ham, difficult team to beat. I mean, I wanted to say something about David Moyes. David Moyes, is one manager I want to be in the Champions League next season. I think this guy has been through a lot. Ever since he came to Man United, his whole humiliation, went to Sociedad. I think this guy has been through the ringer, and it would make me happy to see him successful in that department. Not at our expense, obviously, but I think he deserves it. He's worked his ass off to drag himself from obscurity, and taking over a team like West Ham.
Adam, how do you feel about that? Because obviously you would have experienced Ollie firsthand, as I did, and all the other United fans. Are you happy to see Moyes doing well?
I mean, the only thing that annoys me about Moyes is how he always comes on radio stations talking about his time at Manchester United and how he wasn't given enough time. But for me, David Moyes has his levels, and top club isn't his level. That's as far as I went with David Moyes. I didn't think he was the right man for United at the time. And if he goes on to make a success out of West Ham, then at that level of football club, no disrespect to West Ham, I do think they need to be competing a little bit more for trophies where they can. But for me, I think he's at the right club. I think the issue he's got there is very similar to us in the ownership and who's in charge and who's got a say on what in terms of transfers. Is he going to get the time? I mean, this is a club that David Moyes just got used by in terms of getting him out of a relegation fight a number of times and then bringing him back in eventually. He was never first choice, and now he is, and now he's doing a good job. You can't really argue with what he's done this season where West Ham are. Certain games do look like it's negative, but when you look at it on paper, he has done an all right job with what he's got. But
No, he's
for
done a
me,
fantastic job. You know,
he's neither near or there with me in terms of if I want him to be successful. I couldn't care less, honestly. He's done his time. He's done his time at different clubs, but Everton, West Ham, if you're successful at them clubs, then good on you. He's just never going to be top level. And Terry, you spoke about it then, the best in class coach for us, them managers are there. You could say Ole is very similar to that sort of level, and some would say even less in terms of Manchester United as a coach. But David Moyes, I couldn't give two hoots about, I'll be honest, mate. I really couldn't.
Ole has done better than Mourinho and LPG. I mean, think about it. Yeah, Mourinho came to United and finished 6th his first season. It was a John Guidetti miskick that helped us to get to the final of the Europa League. If that guy scored that goal, we finished 6th that season and we crash out of Europe, he'll be embarrassed. Like, I think we're too quick to give all these top managers a lot of props and like shit on the little guy, basically.
It's because the top managers, though, listen, Fixer, always a great caller, but I think it's because they have a lot more credit in the bank in relation to that. But listen, bro, great call. Thank you for coming on the terrace, mate. Really appreciate it. We can do a few more of these calls here. Next up, we've got the Royal Southwark FC is the username. What you saying, bro? Unmute your line, though. You're muted. Okay, we'll try him later. So next we'll go to Satan's favorite devil. What you saying, brother?
Hello, guys, hear me?
Yeah. What do you want to say?
Yeah, we really did get lucky today, didn't we? I don't really appreciate, I think that David Moyes, he did his homework. He went in with the right game plan. He set up a low block, trying to hit us off the counter. He just got unlucky. I mean, it's an own goal. That was the only goal we saw today. Today was just, boring and stressful. To me, while watching, I was sitting the last 25 minutes and I was like, this has 90th minute corner equalizer written all over it, and it's going to be all over again. And thankfully, we didn't take the points. We moved forward. And I think all these, for me personally, with Oli, I think the way I see things is, I think we're heading towards the right direction. You can call me delusional if you want to, but I think Oli is good enough to win us a Premier League title. I really do think so. And I think there is evidence that does suggest that with better players, he will do a better job. And I do think he is overperforming. And we are heading in the right direction. It's just that we're moving towards the right direction in such a slow pace. It is almost unbearable.
Johnny, do you think that with better players, Oli can win us this league title?
No, I don't. And the reason for that is too many times Oli shoots his own team in the foot, for a better word, with his abysmal in-game management. I think his in-game management, more often than not, is extremely questionable. And honestly, I just feel like I don't think he's got the. I don't think it, and I'm not. It's not against him, right? He's been a manager now for 13 years. And not everybody can be a Pep. Not everybody can be a Fergie. Not everybody can be an Ancelotti. These are special managers. And it's no disgrace to him to say he's not going to get to that level. If it was that easy, Moyes would win the league. Steve Bruce would win the league. It's not easy to be at the top, and it's no disrespect to Ole, but I just don't feel he's got it in him to take us to a title. I wish he could. It'd be so poetic and romantic and be brilliant. The ex-legend takes Man United back to the title, back to the summit of Everest. It'd be brilliant. Yeah, absolutely amazing. But sorry,
can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Okay, for me, let's say I'm wrong and Ollie's not good enough to win us a Premier League title, but we are getting consistent top 4 season in, season out. Are you willing to give that away? Because we've seen the way that the board have behaved in the past. They get in managers, sack them, and hire other managers that completely contradict the previous squad that was built. We followed Moyes with LVG, and then followed LVG with Mourinho, and followed Mourinho with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Would you give that away to go and have to go hire Allegri, for example?
The problem I have with that is he's got us consistently top 4 for 2 seasons in a row, but this is Man United. We're not Spurs. No disrespect to Spurs, but we're not Spurs. Man United should be excuse my language. I swear a lot usually. I've really toned it down. Man United should be challenging for the title season in, season out. I'll accept it when we get back into it, and then So he's got it last year and he's got it this year. I can accept that, but next year, top 4 is not going to be good enough for me. He has to be literally put whoever's going to be at the top, whether it's Liverpool or City. He has to be up their asses for within last couple of games, and maybe he drops it off for the last couple of games. I'll take that. But this top four is not an achievement for me, and it never will be ever.
And I understand that. Listen, Satan's favorite devil. Thank you for your call. Really appreciate it, mate. I think the thing for me is, like, based on what we said earlier, we spoke about how that's one of my fears of sacking Ollie, though, that the new guy comes in and wants 16 members of this squad to go. We're not going to bring it. I feel like we're not going to pick a guy who's going to say, listen, I only need 2 or 3 additions to bring my philosophy to life. And it's almost just a continuation and a betterment of what we already have in place. That's why I don't waste too much energy on the Ollie situation, because I've got no faith in them picking the right person and or backing them. But yeah, of course, you're always going to run that risk. And I remember when a lot of people wanted Jose out, and I sat here on my stream saying, do you think it will guarantee success? And people said the same stuff. A better manager can make us win the league with this squad. 3 months into Ollie's reign, although it was interim, most people thought, see, a better manager, And that's why for me, even if we brought in Nagelsmann, the first 6 months looked great, I still wouldn't allow myself to get carried away, because I celebrate results, and I'm always happy with that. If we smash AC Milan 4-0 in the week, I'm going to celebrate like every other red around the world, because I want to win. But it comes back to we're a poorly run club, and I don't think
this is interesting on that you said there, Terry, mate. It's the fact that all of our staff are learning their job at the highest level at Manchester United. It's like I'm absolutely mortified that Carrick is there on the sidelines, and I don't say that against him. I want him to be doing what Rooney, Lampard, and Gerrard are doing. You're better than this, Carrick. I want him to go away and learn his trade. I want Ole to say to me, look, right, we are moving forward. This is my contract. I'm in here at the football club. I'm going to change the coaching staff. I'm going to bring someone else in with a bit of experience to change things up. Look outside the box, not keep employing. I don't use the phrase jobs for mates and stuff like that, but it's pretty much what it looks like. Like I said, everyone is below Ole. So if Ole's the standard, then everyone else below him is less. And then you look at the players in the training ground, you're looking at them and they're going, is there that much respect there? And again, to go on your point, Terry, if a new man comes in and starts cracking the whip and wanting a different style of football and more from these players, have these players been soft-soaked that much by Ole and got used to this regime that all of a sudden they start mowing them down in tools as well? It's a massive risk just to change the manager all of a sudden like that.
Because Ole's inexperienced, you'd think that because he's inexperienced, they'd bring experience in around him to sort of insulate him and protect him.
You would.
So there is deficiencies don't stand out. But because Ole's inexperienced, and then Michael Carrick and McKenna, they're all, let's be honest, they're all apprentices, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny, but what you're forgetting is that the club's run by dickheads. Like, that's the point. You're talking with logic, and it's not run by men that not only don't know what they're doing, they don't care about what they're doing. Like, they don't care enough.
I've got a question kind of for a bunch of you, because like this being a foreign fan or whatever, and I can't go to the games like you guys can or whatnot, but I still love the club as much. I have a question, because realistically, United fans are spoiled when I think about it. When I hear what I've heard on the call, where it's like we should be challenging every single year, and I don't disagree in that sense. But all dynasties go through rough patches. It's sport. In sport in general, all dynasties go through rough patches. Would you, because I use the Lakers as a perfect example. They went through a decade of being bad, and now they're great again. And would you guys look at this situation as maybe the Glazers have realized we don't know the culture. We destroyed what Sir Alex Ferguson built. And Ollie, if one thing we've all agreed on, has brought back a lot of that. He's brought that back. Would you be happy if Ollie stayed in the job for, let's say, 1 or 2 more years? And I'm not saying this needs to happen, and then he brings in, and again, probably not going to happen, like players like a Sancho, because so far the profile of player Ollie's gone after has at least been better than what the Mourinhos and LVGs were looking for. If he brings in these players that love the club, a lot of people gave him stick for bringing in British players. The reason he was doing that was because British players understand what it means to play for Manchester United. So if he brought in the right players, and then in a year or two, you brought in an Nagelsmann or whatnot, and then we started winning again, would you not be happy with that? Because what he's doing is actually fixing a structure that the Glazers aren't capable of doing. They don't know the club.
As a staunch Ollie outer, right? I am probably the biggest Ollie out there at the minute. It's no secret.
Very true.
But if he got in a world-class centre-back, right, and he brought in a CDM and a Sancho, right, to me, that's 3 vital positions that we need. Honestly, I'd give Ollie the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not saying I'd go Ollie in, right?
Yeah.
But I'd say, all right, Ollie, do you know what? You've got the players now. I'll give you one more chance. Prove me, sit me down, shut me up, go and do it. But I don't think the board's going to do that. And I think because of that situation,
asking hypothetically, because
do you know what I would say, Cam, is this. For me, I would have to accept it, but it would be with a huge fist size full of hindsight. So I'd have to look back and go, I was really wrong for doubting you. If what they're doing now is building the foundations to get us back to greatness, and we get back to greatness, and when I say greatness, the reason why I think we should be successful is this: City and Chelsea, the only 2 teams that I can accept being on par or being better than us, because us 3 collectively, due to our incomes and finances, should have the monopoly in this country if we are run well, because we have more money than everybody else. We should be able to attract the best players. We should be able to have the best management and all the best structures in place because we have the most amount of money. If you look at all the other countries where the top teams dominate, they're the richest clubs. The poorest club don't dominate in any kind of sport, in any kind of industry. It's simple as that. So for me, when I say consistently competitive, I'm talking about challenging for titles, being a good footballing team, and being in and around the mix every single season like Fergie was. Why did Fergie keep us there? One, he was a great manager, but also the club was run very, very well. And I think we have the financial capabilities of doing that. City have shown that that's possible over the last 11 years. They've grown to it where even when they haven't challenged for titles, they've still generally been in the top 4, comfortably in it, done well in domestic competitions as well. And they've grown to this point, and they will now maintain. Of course, they're going to dip when Pep leaves. That's obvious. But they'll be there or thereabouts. So for me, I'd love to believe what you're saying is happening. But the problem is it's 16 years of seeing these people. It's 16 years of seeing Sir Alex Ferguson have to sit there and say there's no value in the market. And what that translated to is they're not giving me any money to spend. But if he come out and said that, the club could have imploded. When you get rid of Cristiano Ronaldo and you bring in Gabriel Obertan and an injury-prone Michael Owen, when he spends 7 years needing a new midfield player, you end up playing the Brazilian twins in midfield, bringing Scholes out of retirement because the club won't buy you anybody. Even buying Van Persie was a madness. We had Wayne Rooney that could score goals. But the reason we bought Van Persie in, and of course it worked out well, is because he was available for 20, 25 million. What we really needed was a world-class number, a Wesley Sneijder, which meant Rooney could have played in that goal-scoring position and we could have had a creator. But why couldn't we get Sneijder? Because he was going to cost £50 million, which at the time was colossal. Because of what's happened, the fact there's holes in the ceiling, the fact that Adam had just said what he said there about the types of fans they benefit, I don't believe they've had the wake-up call. I'm coming from, I just don't believe that enough. The only way I think they'd get a wake-up call is if the money fell away. But for the money to fall away, you need tens of millions of people to galvanize together globally to cut the flow of money coming in. You can't get 20 people in this world to agree on something or follow the same action. I went to one of the protests before, and this was back when the green and gold scarf thing was there, and there was about 1,000 people. And I remember saying to myself, fucking point me being here. Like no one else turned up. So you're never going to make it work.
Sorry, can I ask Adam a question?
Yeah, of course you can.
Hi, Adam. First time I'm meeting you, mate. Hope you're well, pal.
All right, mate.
You said earlier that you're a match-going fan. I'm just curious to know, since the Glazers have been in charge, has there ever been an appetite from match-going fans to like, organise a mass walkout like during a game, or is it just like wishful thinking?
Wishful thinking, mate. Absolutely wishful thinking, because there was supposed to be one in the Wolves game, but then it was Bruno's debut as well, and it just went by the by. Absolutely, it went with a whimper. I mean, I turned up to the last so-called protest, which was even worse, to be honest. All the right moves were made. They shut the mega store just in case things went a bit nasty, and then it was you could have bumped into a tumbleweed before you bumped into a yellow and gold, yellow green scarf. It was embarrassing. But in terms of walkouts in the game, they've literally been because of the style of football. I've seen a stadium empty because fans have just had enough of the style of football. That's what there's been a walkout of. Not over the Glazers. Yeah, go on, shoot, mate.
Obviously, I've not been to Old Trafford many times, but like I say, you're a season ticket holder. Honest opinion, do you believe that Ollie's style of football would be accepted in Old Trafford?
I think he's getting away with it now because there's no fans right now. There'll be certain games at Old Trafford this season where they'd have been given dogs abuse. They really would. The only thing that the owners have made or gone towards to sort of go with the fans or give something back with the fans is approving the safe standing that's coming in next season at Old Trafford. But then again, with safe standing, you could probably squeeze more fans in and therefore make more money. So there is sort of an idea behind that by the Glazers. It makes sense. So there's that. They've made this whole thing about the singing section. And then the singing section started chanting against Ed Woodward. And everyone turned around and went, whoa, hang on a minute. These guys are the ones that are being looked after by the club and they're turning a little bit. But I'll be honest, mate, Ollie's standard of football won't be accepted at Old Trafford. But then again, a lot of Old Trafford now isn't people like me. It isn't real fans. There is a lot of day trippers, which, fair enough, you're a global club, you're going to get that. There are some fans, like Terry said, who I know, who travel on a plane to every single game. It is absolutely crazy. These are diehard fans, but they move all of the important fans into the North Stand, which is dead. There's zero atmosphere. They keep all the sort of singing section together, pretty much near where all the acoustics are great in the stadium, where all the cameras are, so it sounds like there's an atmosphere. There's like a big plan behind it all to make it sound better than what it is. It's no wonder they've not moved the away fans for so long, because that's right next to all the cameras, next to all the sound systems, and they will pick that up on TV more. You can see what they're doing. You can see the whole idea behind it. It's poor, to be honest. I've been moved from my seat about my season ticket about 3 times now because of this so-called singing section, moving them around the stadium, trialing things. I've been moved so many times. Next season, they want to stick me in tier 2 of the North Stand where it's dead, along with everyone else, because they want to make room for the so-called singing section. And
it's mad.
It's poor. It's poor is what it is. We don't get looked after at all.
And on the day trippers thing, I just want to reiterate to the fans. Did you say these aren't even when I think of day trippers? I'm not even talking about Man United fans. These are people that are like, I'm on holiday in England. I love to see a Man United game. So Adam isn't talking about someone who's gets up at 6 in the morning or 2 in the morning every single week in Australia, but he's on holiday and he's coming to see his beloved club, because those fans do get up and sing and shout and get involved because they love it. It's all these 100%. It's people that are touring that don't know anything about the club but just want to go there like it's Madame Tussauds. That's a real big problem, because they pick up.
I know something about this as well. And, as the second biggest club in the country, obviously you're the biggest, as the second biggest that regularly gets 60,000 fans every week. And we've got the same problem with people who come along with the tourism and everything else. Mate, we've been there with the protests. We've driven our owners out of that stadium. They've had to leave. We've done it all. It doesn't achieve anything. The only way that I think you guys change hands of ownership is if that Saudi money comes in. But do you really want that? Because for me, if that's the way it goes, then that's the final nail in the coffin for me, and we've got to go and find a new sport to follow. So just a quick one, chaps. Is that the investment that you're looking for? Because people like Leicester have got brilliant investors that are fantastic, who are not like that, but they'd never be able to come and buy Manchester United. Saudi money's the only money that's going to buy Manchester United. And
Man United or Jeff Bezos. The problem you've got is to buy Man United right now, it would probably cost you north of 5 billion quid. So you have to be you have to be. Roman Abramovich isn't rich enough to buy Manchester United. He doesn't have enough money. What's he worth? 5-6 billion. It's going to cost. I think the club's valued at about 3.5, and you would have to spend. Glazers have said you've got to pay us exorbitant amounts over that to make them leave. So you would have to look at people that are worth 20-30 billion plus. And how many people in the world are worth that much money? There's 5 of them, 6 of them. So
there's rumors about Prokopov, the Russian politician. That would have been beautiful. He bought the nets in basketball and then realized quickly he didn't know anything about basketball. He drove the team into the ground, but the man spent like crazy. And then there's rumors he was looking at United. He killed them. But that's the type of, you need that kind of owner, somebody who looks at sport as not just a hobby, but like they love it. They want.
You need an owner that's willing to spend,
but they have to love it.
Of money, but equally knows that he has to build a team that know what they're doing. So for me, you know, what I've done in my career when I'm building something, and you'll know this, Cam, with plans that we've got going on here, I'll reach out. I know nothing about marketing. So when I need to do something marketing based, I reach out to professional marketers to come in. I don't know what do you call yourselves? Are you marketers? What's the term?
Marketeers. A marketer. We in the creative space we call ourselves all sorts of things. Just
okay, cool. Right. So I'm gonna call you marketeers, right there. That's how much I know. Why I bring you in, because you know what you're doing. You know, if I need the plumbing done in my ass, I bring one of my brothers who are plumbers because they know what they're doing. That's my issue with the Glazers. They do too much of them and their board do too much of the work, and they are highly skilled commercial people. So some of the banks and departments have worked in banks. These are highly educated, highly skilled, amazing corporate individuals. That doesn't mean they can sit in a room and negotiate the sale of a football player, because they know nothing about the football industry, how to communicate within it. And emotional intelligence is equally as important as IQ, and they lack it. And look, I've come across a lot of very successful bankers in my life. They have zero personality. They are some of like you watch Wolf of Wall Street, like, oh, that's how bank. No, they're not. Most of them are proper geeks. Like they prefer to calculate to a brothel. Do you know what I mean? That's a reference to Wolf of Wall Street, unless you've seen the film or read the book. But that's what it's like. And the Glazers are just, it's awful. When I think about who runs the club, it makes me feel sick. But listen, I know there's more callers. We can't get anybody else on today. Everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to all of you. Frankie, Cam, thank you for coming on. Adam, cheers for making your debut in the channel, mate. Absolute pleasure to sit here and talk to you. Everyone who's tuned in today, thank you. Back at midnight for Midnight Vibes with KJ. So make sure you're tuning in for that show. Until then, take care. Goodbye. God bless.